ahead and call the West Richland City Council to meet order at 6 p.m. And before we get started, I'll ask Stephanie to read the virtual meeting rules and then call the roll.
All right, thank you. Please make sure the name shown at the bottom of your video view is the name you would like the mayor to use. You can change this by right-clicking on the three dots in the upper corner of your video and clicking rename. If you have an unstable internet connection, please also connect through the phone. That will allow you to continue to participate even if you lose internet connection. If you call in after you have joined on video, click the arrow between mute and video, and there is a button for switch to phone audio. Clicking this button provides participant ID. Please call in with that ID, as then your phone is associated with your video. We will mute everyone until a designated comment period. When the mayor asks for public comments, if you raise your virtual hand, he will call on you and you will be unmuted. To virtually raise your hand, click on Participants and then click on Raise Hand. If you are participating by phone only, press *9 to raise your hand. All right, roll call. Brent Gary.
Here.
Richard Bloom.
Here.
Fred Brink.
Here.
Gail Brown. Gail?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not muted, am I? You hear me?
Yes.
We got you.
Rich Buell.
Here.
David Fetto.
Here.
Kate Moran.
Present.
John Smart.
Here.
Okay, I will go ahead and ask Councilman Bloom to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening. And Councilman Bloom, if you give Stephanie just a minute to mute everyone, I will turn it over to you.
At least she unmuted me.
Go ahead, Councilman Bloom.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman. Wait till everybody gets back up here. Perfect. Okay, Council, the agenda is before you this evening. May I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Mr. Mayor, I will move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second by Councilman Buell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, please. Motion carries. Thank you. And presentations this evening. Tonight we have Finance Director Ms. Gwen to present the financial report for the second quarter of 2021. You'll be pleased at this report. It's very enlightening and positive. Thank you. Aaron, go ahead.
All right, let's get it going. Everybody can see that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, Mayor Gary. Good evening, council members and citizens. This evening, I'm presenting the 2021 second quarter financial report. Let's see. So first we'll review, go over the economic update and review the financial health of the general fund as well as the other funds. We'll start with Washington State employment numbers. We've reviewed this chart a few times previously, and what we're looking for is the unemployment rate to get closer to pre-COVID numbers. Let's see here, let's get the chart. So the square right there at the end is our pre-COVID number we're kind of shooting for, which was a total claims of 62,653. And then here at the very end, you can see at the end of May was the latest data we had when we put this together. We're at 69,005. So we are getting closer. So employment numbers are looking much better. Here's another chart we've been monitoring, which compares some key economic indicators. And this compares the same time the previous year. Same month. And this is Benton County on the left side and all of Washington counties on the right side. Employment numbers right here, everything is green and being positive as we saw in the previous one. So again, looking much better. Taxable retail sales, also much better. Export volume and everything across the state is much better. Support programs, this is an area still in the red. We're still have basic food higher than we did last year. However, it is down compared to the first quarter report I did. I think it's about 900 down on like the basic food participants. So that's a positive direction, but still higher than we were a year ago. In regards to consumer behavior, typically credit card spending is an indication that there's more consumer confidence. This could be skewed because of COVID, because contactless payment method is more prevalent now. So it's kind of in blue there. So it's like it's a positive, but is it really a positive? Just something to kind of watch. And time outside the home is still down. People are still working from home. We have employers like PNNL and Amazon where, so we can kind of expect that outside the home to be down. Here's a look at West Richland consumers and delinquent utility bills. These customers with due dates at the end of June 6/25. And so this information also is very current. So this is data as of this morning. So it is based on June, but these are the customers that are still delinquent from June. You can see our total number of customers with all the way back is 57. So that's still like I think we're about 2 months behind with those ones. These are the ones really to be concerned about. Probably these 25 or 26. These are the ones that are like very delinquent, which make up about half of this 18,000. We're still doing really well in this area compared to other cities in the area. Our utility funds are able to absorb it so far. Hopefully it doesn't go the other way, but it is looking positive. This chart doesn't include our shut-off. We continue to process shut-off every month. We did it just last week. And it's been averaging about 120 to 140 customers on this list post-COVID, so the last few months, where pre-COVID numbers were between 30 and 35. So every month we would shut off about 30 to 35 customers. And so it's significantly higher. I think the moratorium is set to end at the end of September, which would mean our first shut off post that, because we have to have legal responsibility to send out past dues and such. But the first shut off would be about November 12th, I believe, with that date. And so something to watch. 120 customers is a lot of people. I don't know if they'll change and start paying on time once they know that they're going to get shut off. So that'll be something to watch. Here's other indicators is our building activities. And these next 3 slides are different views of what's going on with our building activity. People are pretty familiar with this chart. You can see our single family permits, which we'll take a better look at in a second. But over here, you can see our overall permits is up 43%. in this same time frame. So January to June of 2020 compared to January of June 2021. Again, take into account COVID, we were shutting down last year, building was down, so we are seeing that pick back up. This is another view of single family permits. And this one, you can see where this blue lines is the annual permits. At the end of 2020, we did recover in the building, single family building, which is, we're seeing that continue into this year, which were pretty significant. And here's another look. So this one compares to how we budgeted. I've showed this a few times now. The budget was based on 180 single family permits, which is where we expect to be December of 21. And this is how this graph was built. Right now we're at 162. So we're 87% more than where we expected to be at this time. So city is on track to surpass the original budgeted amount of single family permits in this case. So those next 11 slides are in regards to the general fund revenues and expenses. The first slide is a graph of the amended biannual budget. This is budgeted percentages. So this is where your money is coming from in our budget. You'll see that taxes are the primary source of the general fund, which if you add sales tax in there, the total makeup is 69% for taxes. Here's another look, and this is total revenue that's collected. The general fund is surpassing projected revenues. We're 20% more than we were comparatively to the same time period last year. Sales tax has seen a 30% increase. Building permit revenue increased by 136%. And charges for services, which include the plan review fees and the construction inspection fees, has increased 24%. Here's another view of the general fund revenues compared to the budget by category. General fund has collected 29% of budgeted revenues. This is an indicator that we're on track with our budget. We're a quarter way through the 21-22 budget, so we would be expecting to see 25% or higher in this category. These next three slides are different views of sales tax collection. The city has seen a 30% increase over the same time period last year. There was increases in manufacturing, wholesale, and retail, which you can see in this category. It breaks it down by sector. The city has historically relied on construction sales tax, which is a one-time revenue source. A large portion of the 2020 sales tax collected in the construction sector was due to the construction of the school district buildings as well as the fire district. We haven't quite seen the uptick from our police facility yet because there is a lag on when we actually get the revenue here. I think it's like a 2 to 3 month lag. So we should start seeing that come in the next few months. So we might see that kind of pick back up. But we are seeing pretty significant increases in the retail sales, which is here, which generally, when looking at that detail, has to do with online sales. A lot of online stores, as well as building materials, seem to be the significant increases there. So this one is similar to that building permit comparison on how are we doing compared to the budget. the city is exceeding our budgeted revenue in this category. We continue on this trend. We will see more revenue collected than what was budgeted. These next two slides are really looking at utility tax. Utility tax is the largest collection for the general fund. And so it's been pretty consistent, 6% increase in our electric utility tax, largely due a lot to the new development and new customers coming online. We have seen a decrease in the telephone utility tax. The majority, and we've seen this trend for years, I think since I've been working here, although it did take a significant dip this quarter. More and more customers are having a data plan which is not taxable. And then we have seen increases in our internal from water, sewer, stormwater, and solid waste, largely due to new development. Here's just another look at the individual utility tax category. Again, we just show that the telephone utility tax is really dipping. We are actually starting to see the cable utility tax dip in the same way. It's not a huge source of revenue, but it is one that will be trailing off, and it's the exact same reason that we have seen the telephone tax decline. More and more of the cable is going toward internet, which is not taxable. Property tax, it is increased 6% compared to the prior year. The majority of the property tax is received in the second quarter and the fourth quarter. We are keeping right in line with that. Nothing too alarming there. So for intergovernmental revenues, we did see a bit of an uptick for the second quarter, and it's the city assistance revenues increased 63%, as well as liquor excise tax. And then you can see in the fourth quarter there from last year, the majority of that was the grant from the coronavirus, the Corona relief funds. So these next two are in regards to expenditures for the general fund. This is just the graph of budgeted numbers on where our money goes. And it's by department. You can see the majority is for public safety and the police department. And then this is how it's actually been spent by department. We've spent 21% of our budgeted expenditures for the first quarter. Again, we're looking, this is the first quarter of the biennium is what I mean. So we're looking at something that's 25% or less. So we're doing well. We're on track to stay within the budgeted amount. So now we're getting into our special revenues. And this slide shows for our special revenues, all revenue sources are meeting projections, with the exception of the street fund and fuel tax. So that one is a little bit low. We did finally see it not decline. There was a slight increase compared to last year, but it is still something to monitor. In regards to the expenditures, again, all these funds were within the 25% or less, with the exception actually of the park impact fund, which you can't really see because it's 0, but there will be a future budget amendment for that one. There was a refund in there that we need to bring back, but we're still waiting on the park plan to get any of those budgeted. They were 0. Let's see. For the capital project funds, these are all our 300 funds. So we have the REIT 1 and 2, which we'll look at, the police facility, the transportation impact or improvement program, and then streets. Here's revenues in comparison of what's projected to what's actual. And the police facility there looks funny because we collected all the revenue in 2019. So it's just in the ending or the beginning balance resources that's sitting there that we're just spending down. Here's a little bit of a closer look at the real estate excise tax. This actually took a significant jump in the second quarter, 72% increase compared to last year. And we are well on our way to beat our projected budget for the year. So something to watch. We have a lot of development going on, a lot of sales of properties, and that is being shown here. And here's the transportation impact fees. Again, it's another area we saw a lot in the first quarter. Second quarter was a little bit more modest, but we're seeing the compound effects of that. And so, and a lot of that was for the new police facility. Again, here's the expenditures of where they're budgeted to. The projected is the green for the budget, and then where we are comparatively. Again, these all meet the percentage of 25%, with the exception of the police facility. It is expected to be done at the end of this year, beginning of 22. So we expect to see that one a little bit faster. That's the nature of capital project funds, though. Utility revenue funds, water collections. We did bill over 5,000, so we're well over. We're almost to 5,500 as far as water accounts billed, which is significant increase. We did see a water collection increase of 6% compared to the prior year. A lot of that is due to the new development, as well as increased water usage for the drier, warmer spring. So you have to remember this is for June, so we haven't even seen the summer water collection come in this report yet, but we do anticipate it being continuing on the path of being more due to the weather. Sewer revenue increased 8%. A large increase is because of the new development, as well as the increase in rates at the beginning of the year. Irrigation, again, same thing. We're seeing rate increase as well as new development. Everything is on track. And same story with stormwater, 7%. Due to development as well as the rate increase in December. Solid waste, same situation, also on track, nothing to be alarmed about. And here is the expenditure side of things. Again, we're doing really well. We're maintaining, we're within our 25% for all of these funds. Everything's going well. And that is the end of my report. I did send these to Stephanie, the slides, so she will be sending them out to everybody for your viewing pleasure.
Thank you, Aaron. Much appreciated. Great report. Thank you. I see Mayor Pro Tem Brink's hands up.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Gwynn, thank you very much for that report. As always, like my fellow council members, I'm very pleased to see our revenues are increasing. And of course, our expenditures are within the allotments. Just one question though, and this may not be best directed to you, but perhaps Mr. Slade or you, Mr. Mayor, could comment. What is the current plan to address the utility payment delinquencies? I know this has come up before and it's been discussed before, but we have a few citizens online listening tonight, and maybe it would be best just to go over a quick summary of how we're addressing that and what those individuals that are delinquent can expect.
I'll go ahead and start with Erin, give her an opportunity to explain the process in which we have discussed at the staff level and what we're going to go through in the future with opportunities to assist where we can.
So for assistance, I have a couple months to try to reach these people, but we have previously had plans out there which have worked for some. We have had a few people on payment plans that have been keeping up. Now we have a few that have neglected. That's kind of the start. I mean, we've talked about some of the other funds. I've reached out to some of our agencies like the CAC, and a lot of the utility assistance out there is for electricity and not water. So it's still developing. We're still researching it. We don't leave these customers high and dry. We have reached out every month continuously, sometimes a couple times a month, to see what we can do.
Thank you, Aaron. Does that answer your question, Mayor Pro Tem Brink? It's a work in progress, sir.
Yeah, it does, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate just keeping us up to date on that particular aspect of city operations. Thank you.
More than welcome. I see Councilmember Bloom, your hand's up. You're muted.
I'm unmuted.
There you go. Perfect. Thank you.
I just wanted to throw in my 2 bits. The transit, which collects sales tax from all the municipalities for the same period, is 29.4%. So we're not unusual as far as an increase in sales taxes compared to the rest of the community. Everyone is either being forced or by choice spending like drunk sailors. And so to that point, you know, it's probably not sustainable. It is an outage period, but I don't see us being affected by outage aspects as much as just simply people spending money they probably don't necessarily have, or they have put it away for a little while and do that. And with the item coming up on the agenda, since I did buy some property, you're welcome for the REIT funding.
Well, thank you in advance, sir. Councilmember Smart.
Yeah, I just had a question also on the delinquent accounts. Are the accounts that you showed on the table continuous over that period of time, or do they roll over? Like some people pay them off and people have sprouted up. I don't think I caught what the overall number was of delinquent residences.
So as of today, I think I had 57 customers that still owed on their June 25th bill. So it was due on June 25th and there was 57. There's about 25, just probably under 25 that go back to the April timeframe. And that's really the customers to watch. Now, some of those homes, there's a couple of them that have been historically not paying, that are in foreclosure process or that are very small, but that we still have to keep an active account because we don't shut off stormwater or irrigation if they have that service. So there's probably 3 of those of the 25 that we will most likely collect when the home, because it's a bank foreclosure. So we'll most likely collect when the home sells. So it's really about 20 of your average like citizens that live here that are continuously using the water that I'm really concerned about.
Yeah, so it looked like about, if I'm reading that right, about half of them roughly got resolved.
Yes. So they're just taking longer to pay. The majority of them
Okay,
are taking probably, I don't know, 90 days, 60 to 90 days to pay rather than the 30.
okay. Yeah, because I couldn't tell if like they all got resolved and then 50 more of them came up or 25 more came up.
No, it's rolling. It's
Pretty much.
rolling.
Okay, well, okay. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Any other questions, council? Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Appreciated. Good work. We'll go ahead and move on now. We have the consent agenda that is before you, which includes approved payment of the bills, approve the minutes of the regular July 20th, 2021 and special meeting July 20th, 2021. Motion to authorize the mayor to execute professional services contract with Northwest Groundwater Services LLC for well number 3. Resolution 3021, setting a public hearing for a utility easement vacation. Resolution 3121, authorizing the mayor to sign a security and improvement agreement for Plat 012. If there's anyone from the audience who would like to speak to the consent agenda this evening, please raise your hand or star 9 on your phone, and we will recognize you, unmute you. You can address council on this item. Stephanie, do you see anyone?
I do. Looks like Kimberly Nelson has their hand raised.
Okay, Kimberly, do you have something to comment on the consent agenda this evening? Please state your, obviously we've got your name, but your name and residency for the record, please.
Yes. Hi, Mayor. Can you hear me?
Yes, we've got you. Go ahead. Thank you.
Sure. My address is 2318 South Highlands Boulevard in West Richland. And my husband and I have lived here for a little over 20 years. I have something fairly minor, but that's been, I feel like a need for a long time.
Kimberly,
I was talking with,
Kimberly, is this related to the consent agenda this evening, or are you looking for just basic public comment?
oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I misunderstood.
That's fine. We're going to have a citizen public comment after we go through the consent agenda item, and then we'll go ahead and get you back up here so you could
Okay.
address council. All right, perfect.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Please hold. Okay, thank you, Kimberly. So anyone else for the consent agenda this evening? Stephanie, I see no one.
I don't see anyone either.
Okay. Council, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I second that.
A motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you, council. And then moving on to our first opportunity for citizen public comment for items that are not on the agenda. If you'd like to provide comments to council, go ahead and raise your hand. The clerk will unmute you, give you 3 minutes to address council. Kimberly, I believe we've got your name and we've got your address. And so the floor is yours. My apologies. I probably made a comment in regards to address council on the consent agenda. So my bad. You didn't misunderstand my language. Go ahead.
Okay. I appreciate it. So sorry about that.
Not a problem.
I was talking with Eric Mendenhall, and he suggested I come before the council to ask for you to consider changing the name of a local park in our neighborhood. The general problem is that several years ago, before this area was really developed, they created South Highlands Park. I think it was named after the neighborhood. And in the meantime, in the last 20 plus years, South Highlands Boulevard has now become a major street, and there are actually two parks on South Highlands Boulevard, neither of which are named South Highlands Park. South Highlands Park is actually on the corner of Hummingbird and Blue Jay. So anytime the citizens of West Richland in particular want to have a get together, which happens quite regularly, at least once a year for the 4th of July for our group, there's a big explanation that has to happen. We're going to meet, at this date, this time on South Highlands Park, which isn't on South Highlands. It's on Blue Jay and Hummingbird. Please don't go to Coyote Park. Please don't go to Paradise Park. And so all of this time, we've kind of just dealt with it. And I finally decided it was time to ask for some consideration in changing the name. It can be as easy as just changing the name South Highlands Park to something like Bird Hill Park or Hummingbird Park, something that reflects more where it's located, and then it becomes less confusion for everyone.
Okay. Perfect. I'm gonna ask both of our Roscoe Slade and Eric Mendenhall at the end of the meeting, if you want to hang tight, they go through their comments and to council, and also anything that staff or the citizens may bring up in citizen public comment, and that would maybe helpfully answer your question. And I think you're going to find two answers: one, how the parks originally are named, and two, when is the best time to take a look at renaming the park, and that may be when we look at our park plan. So if you want to hold tight and join us all the way through the meeting, I'll ask Roscoe and Eric to both share with you a little thought process of how we ended up where we're at.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you very much. Anyone else this evening? Okay. Seeing no one, we'll go ahead and move on to ordinances, resolution, motions, and public hearings. Items 8A and B are a public hearing and a resolution for the vacation of public utility easement. Our associate planner, Alicia, will present staff reports this evening. Alicia.
Good evening. I have first a staff report for the easement vacation file VACA 002-2021. The property owners, Richard and Ruth Bloom, submitted an application for a utility easement vacation along with the applicable fee. The site is Willamette Heights, Section 6, Lot 78, which is on Everett Street. And you can see a vicinity map if you look in your agenda packet. It is attachment 3. There's also an exhibit map, which is attachment 2. We routed the application to franchise utilities and gave 15 days to review. We received no objections to the vacation request from franchise utilities, and we received a memo from Public Works saying that they had no objections either. We did receive one public comment when it was routed out to surrounding property owners. Pull that up, so I'll read that now. This is from Leslie. Sorry.
Go ahead. It was background noise.
All right. Well, this is from Leslie Ann Howard, who lives at 6100 Collins Road. She says, while I have no objection to the vacation of utility easements for Lot 78, Section 6, or generally for any other utility easements as platted throughout the section and are largely unused, I asked the city to consider maintaining an access easement along the west side of the lot to allow for continuation of the pathway as presently exists further to the south and could continue to the north. The pathway provides a safe and direct route through the neighborhood that avoids streets often congested with parked vehicles and other obstacles. The pathway is used by children accessing the nearby schools as well as for recreation. I hope that the city will maintain this and other pathway routes throughout the community. Thank you for your consideration. We didn't receive that comment. It may be something to keep in mind moving forward with other access vacations, but at this time, this is a utility easement vacation. So that will not impact that, but it may be something to keep in mind moving forward. We will need to hold a public hearing, which I'm assuming comes next. And on our side, it appears that the easement would not, the vacation of the easement would not unduly jeopardize health, safety, welfare, or the public good. Additionally, the retention of the easement no longer serves any useful purpose.
Okay, thank you, Alicia. Much appreciated. So with that, I will go ahead and open the public hearing at 6:41. If anybody would like to provide comments to this public hearing, please raise your hand or press *9 on your phone. And the clerk will unmute you and you can provide testimony. Stephanie, do you see anyone?
I do not.
Nor do I. So with that, I will go ahead and close the public hearing at 6:42. And before we move on to the resolution 3221, Councilman Bloom, I believe you have something to request.
Yes, I request the easement vacation, but I will abstain from this motion because it is my property.
Awful pushy for somebody that's asking for a process.
Well,
I'm just teasing. Okay, very good. Councilman Bloom will abstain from voting on resolution 3221, vacation of public easement. So may I have a motion, council, please?
I move to pass resolution 32-21, authorizing the vacation of a portion of the 30-foot in width utility easement for file VACA 002-2021.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Council discussion amongst yourself or question of Alicia in regards to this request.
I just want to recognize the letter that was written and also acknowledge the comment that Alicia mentioned about the importance if we have an access vacation request, right? So
Yes.
that's an interesting comment and I appreciate it.
Yeah. And again, thank you, Alicia, for making that clear. Much appreciated. We will take note of it in the future, as I imagine staff will be right on top of it if it comes that way. See, Councilmember Moran.
Yes, I was just wondering, when you were reading it, I don't think I quite understood. Where was it? I know that it doesn't have anything to do with the easement, but for the path, where is the path going through there?
Let me pull up the email again. There's a path that is located just to the south that goes, it doesn't quite extend to Everett Street, but it does go through there. And there, with the access easement, it could be potentially a future extension of that path along lot 78.
So it's on the south side of the lot, or it's south of Everett, but still on the northish part of the lot?
From what I understand, that's where it is.
Which part?
So it doesn't go all the way to Everett, but it is just south of there.
Okay, so it's in the north part of the lot. Okay. Okay, I was just curious. Thank you.
Alicia, the submitted comment is in the packet as well, correct?
It came in after I sent to the packet, so.
Okay. If you'd send that out to council too, I'd appreciate it for future reference. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing no one, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you, council. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on to public hearing. Items 8C and 8D are public hearing and a resolution naming of a new park, the Heights Park. Associate Planner Alicia will present the staff report again this evening on this item. Alicia, go ahead.
So we, as you may be aware, we have the park that's associated with the Heights at Red Mountain Ranch subdivision that they're in process of constructing right now. As part of the development, they have to complete this as part of phase 3 of that subdivision. They have approached us with a proposed name, the Heights Park, And the process in the park naming policy that was updated in 2019 says that the Parks and Recreation Board will consider proposed names and forward their decision to the council for consideration. The Parks and Recreation Board voted to recommend the proposed name to the city council for approval on June 28th. And the park name that was proposed by the developer, and the park name, because they have been so involved in this project, we believe that it would be beneficial to accept their request. And that's what the Parks Board thought as well. We recommend that the name be the Heights Park.
Okay, thank you. With that, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing at 6:47. If anyone would like to address this item on the agenda, please raise your hand or *9 on your phone and the clerk will unmute you. You can make comment to this item. Stephanie, I see no one. How about yourself? Do you?
I do not see anyone.
Okay, very good. With that, I'll close the public hearing at 6:47. And resolution 3321, naming of the park Heights Park. Council, do I have a motion, please?
I move to pass resolution 33-21, adopting the name of the Heights Park for the new park to be built as part of the Heights at Red Mountain Ranch subdivision.
Second. I have a second. Okay, motion and a second. Council, questions of Alicia, conversation amongst yourselves in regards to this item? Okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead, John.
I'm just curious, were there a list of other names possibly considered that didn't get picked?
Alicia,
PBS came forward with a name in conjunction with the property owners and the park and the actual plans for the park. And it requested the name.
So it's just the one name has been considered. Yeah. Okay. I just want to comment. Personally, I think it's hard to say, but I don't have a particular preference. I just was curious if there was some deliberation taken here on the name before just one name was considered and put forward to span all of eternity, or at least the rest of the era. I'll support this, but I was just curious if our park board or anybody else in our community had a chance to talk more about this. Was there deliberation, or was it really just like the developer wrote down the Heights Park on his plan and said, okay, this is what we think it should be? Was there input? Was there involvement? Community expressions at all? Nothing?
Process, John, is that they submit the name.
Yeah.
They're building the park, so we let them submit the name, right? And it's a several $1 million investment that they're making.
Right.
And so we took that name that they submitted to the Parks Board, where we had discussion with them. There was deliberation about that.
Okay.
There was consideration for other names for the park there, but they chose to move forward with what was recommended because of the investment that they're making. It's a bit of their marketing as well. It's their neighborhood that they're building and developing out. So they went ahead and made that recommendation to council to approve the name.
Okay.
Yeah, Heights at Red Mountain and Heights Park. So, and yeah, they're writing a check. But good point, John. Good point on all.
Yeah. It just is a little bit when I'm telling the kids to go to the soccer game at the Heights Park. Maybe it's just my my problem with saying THSs. I don't know, but it just seems a little odd.
All right.
But I'm good with it. I'm good with it, and I understand. I just wanted to hear what we had gone through to get here.
Good question. Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Brink.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate Councilmember Smart's questions because mine were similar, but I have one follow-on question as well. Given the comment that Ms. Kimberly Nelson made earlier about naming of parks, I would just wonder, is there an urgency to do this? I think that the question or the response given to Ms. Nelson at this point was that, we might look at the naming of parks as a holistic concept, as we're reviewing the parks plans. So I guess that's really my question. Is there an urgency or is there a need to do this immediately?
Yes, there is. They're ordering the sign as we speak. They're building the park now. So it would be good to have a name to throw up on the sign that they're building to make sure that it's labeled correctly. So we do want to get it done soon. And I'll go into the discussion with about what Mrs. Nelson discussed as far as the heights of the Highlands Park in my comments later. But there's no street in the area that's named the Heights. So that should help as far as labeling not being confusing. So
And how many years it took to grow up around these other parks that have been here for a number of years. It might be a while before we have a conflict with Heights Park and the Heights of Red Mountain as far as where the 4th of July party is going to be held.
No, that's okay. I appreciate the additional information. And once again, I think if this looks permanent, then I'm all for it. It doesn't look like it'll change. But if we're looking at possibly changing parks names, I just didn't want to repeat the effort and have to order a new sign sometime in the future. But that seems unlikely, so I'm good with this.
So I have a quick follow-up, and that's just a question. Is there going to be another park like adjacent to an adjacent neighborhood? Do we have any plans? Will there be confusion as to which park is the Heights Park?
this is the only park in the Heights at Red Mountain.
In the Heights, yeah. And it's pretty well delineated, right? I mean, that neighborhood has got a wall around it.
Yep. And it'll be everything. This neighborhood will be all the new homes are building south of Rupert Road between Van Giesen and Rupert Road along King. Yep.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, council. And then with that, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you, council. We do not have any unfinished business this evening, nor do we have any new business. So this is another opportunity for citizen public comment. If you'd like to address council, please go ahead and raise your hand or *9 by cell phone. And Stephanie will recognize you and unmute you. Stephanie, I see no one. Yourself?
I don't see anyone either.
Okay, very good. Then we will move on to staff and council reports and announcements. So with that, we'll go ahead and start with staff this evening. And Eric, I'll go ahead and start with you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I will address Mrs. Nelson's comments that she made now with the naming and the proposed name change to that. The process for that would be, I'd like to see some head nods from council to make sure that that is something of interest from the council before we spend staff time doing this. And if it is of interest to council, then I would take this recommendation to the Parks Board for consideration, and then a recommendation that would come back to you. And then we'd have a similar public hearing that we had this evening for that name change. So if this is something that you're interested in, the name of South Highlands Park came about through the South Highlands subdivision. It was part of that subdivision in that area. And then South Highlands Boulevard got built and we put some parks along that too. And so there was a bit of confusion that we've got now that we're looking at. So again, if this is something that, council, you can give me a head nod. Is this something that you want me to consider and take to the Parks Board for review? Be happy to do that, and we can take some feedback. This would be what I'd like to propose, is that this goes hand in glove with the Parks Plan update, so that there's a bit more opportunity for public input and comment on that name and what it might be, so that we can get some input and take this through a process that would include public involvement.
And then we'll go ahead and then go to Roscoe, I believe, if you had something else. Did you have something else to add in regards to this particular item that Derek just discussed, or you're separate?
That's a good approach. Just gives council to think about when you look at naming parks. There is a cost associated with that. Not so much the paper documents, but you have a park sign that was there that was an Eagle Scout project. So we need to factor in that on a new park sign or how to deal with that. So, but that'll all get discussed at the park board when they go through it.
Kimberly said she was going to pay for it, so it's all right.
Yeah, we've done this before where we've had to redo signs that were done by an Eagle Scout as a project, and usually they just take the plaque that's on the back of them and retransfer them over to the new one. So I'm sure we can find another Boy Scout looking to get his Eagle Scout that want to, if the name changes, that would want to redo that sign. So I think Eric's got a good approach going forward with this.
I see some nods and thumbs up, stuff like that. So Eric, will go ahead and put that on the conversation as you move forward with your parks plan.
Sounds good. Just to give you some more updates. So Aaron did a fantastic job sharing with you information on the permits and what's going on. Todd gets information from the Builders Association, brought this spreadsheet into me today. And West Richland is doing a phenomenal job as far as permit statistics go. We are the third largest volume pusher in the Tri-Cities right now. We are behind Pasco and Richland, but not by far. And they've got commercial development going in, so I think they cheat a little bit. But that being said, just for statistic purposes, since that was what you went over a little bit before this evening. So in 2016, over the same year-to-date time frame, so January through July, in 2016, the city of West Richland processed 56 permits. In 2017, it went up to 80 permits. And then in 2017, it went up to 80 permits. 2018, it dropped down to 39. In 2019, it went back up again to 60. And then during the year of the COVID, we were at 58 permits. And this year, 2021, we are at 187 permits. So we are rocking and rolling. I give a ton of credit to the permit team and all of the work that's associated with that. And that's from finance to public works to community development. There's a lot of work that goes into that, from building inspections to setting water meters, setting up new accounts for billing, plan review. There's a lot that goes into that. And I just am thrilled with our staff that we have here, the hard work that they're putting in. If you look at the numbers that we're doing compared to the other jurisdictions and the staffing levels, we are blowing everybody out of the water, which is a good thing. So I'm proud of the staff. I'm proud of the hard work that they're putting in, and excited to see us continue to move along. I followed a lot, the first of the year, I was a bit concerned with construction and new development, with building lumber prices going through the roof, that we might see some softening up on construction. And we did see a little bit of that, but with lumber prices starting to inch back down, we have seen permits rocketing off again. Just, I think it was yesterday or today, we issued 12 permits, which is, as you can see, all of last month we did 20, and we're at 12 permits in one day. So we have a lot of permits sitting on the counter waiting for folks to come in and pay for those permits. What we're seeing a lot of is, the heat is slowing a little bit down. You only can be out in the sun for so long, and the smoke. And then, but the big thing still is the lumber packages. So they're waiting to get the lumber packages scheduled before they come in to pay for their permits and pull their permits, so that they're not sitting there with all that money sitting on the table waiting for lumber to show up. So we are seeing some growth there. There is still a significant pinch in the housing economy. There's not a whole lot of homes up for sale, and we're seeing a lot of jobs coming into the community. Between Darigold coming, there's a business yet to be named coming to Pasco that's bringing about 1,500 jobs. So there's a lot of job growth here in the Tri-Cities, which is fantastic. But we're going to continue to see a lot of even more of a pinch on housing here in the Tri-Cities as these jobs are coming here. People are migrating to live here because of the great city that we have to live in. So I project that this is going to continue to be a pattern that we're going to see moving forward, especially as we look to the north of Rupert Road and planning for north of Rupert Road.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Eric. Much appreciated. Let's bounce over to Chief Majetic this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, ladies and gentlemen, council audience. The first one I was mention and thank everybody for the turnout on National Night Out. A very hot day, very smoky day, but we had well over 2,000 people attend the event. A great success, exactly what we wanted, the chance to interact with our community members, and it was just a wonderful time. I want to thank the mayor, Gail Brown, John Smart, and Kate Moran, all who attended. And I'm sorry if other council members had attended and I either didn't see it or I didn't remember. But wonderful event, and thanks again for everybody that attended. The new police facility, still on time, on budget, and going very well. We're going to get an updated construction schedule hopefully here next week or 2 weeks after that. And I'm optimistic it's actually going to move up the anticipated completion date. We're getting a lot of inquiries from out of town about the facility and exactly how it went about and where we're at now. All positive. I'm requesting a lot of information on how we got to the point we're at now and the actual facility, questions about that. So it's really drawing a lot of interest because it is going to be a premier facility in the Northwest. And I think we all can be very proud on what's been accomplished up to this point, and knock on wood, accomplished once we get moved in November, December. And lastly, Mr. Mayor, I just want to mention we do have a town hall. The police department has a town hall where I'll be speaking in reference to the new legislation, how it may impact police services in West Richland. It's tentatively scheduled for August 31st at 6 p.m. at Enterprise Middle School. However, just put everybody on notice with the COVID numbers going through the roof right now and a lot of events and guidances recommending that large public events may look at delaying or canceling. We'll see how everything goes here in the next couple of days. But so far, we're still planning on going with that event. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Chief. Much appreciated. Mr. Slade this evening, sir.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Just a couple items. Last Thursday on the 12th, we gave a tour of several projects. We had Representative Benke, Senator Brown. We had Adam File with Benton County, Alicia Brown, who's the Executive Director of the Red Mountain AVA, Troy Berglund, Shannon, and a couple of Benton RA's lobbyists, and we took them on a tour to show them firsthand the projects. We took them through the Bombing Range Road, Keene Road intersection project, show them the a project that we're looking for funding to construct, and we actually had real good feedback on that. The fact that we have federal and local money and also developer money and match. So we have a TIB application in, and they understand that if we're not successful, that the next transportation package they're putting through, this will be a project that they'll understand what that what the project is rather than just seeing a name. We took them by the Well 10 Aquifer Storage and Recovery Program and kind of showed them that, answered some questions there. And then we drove the SR 224 Red Mountain Transportation Improvement Corridor. That's really what everybody wanted to see. And we're shocked at the length and shocked at the development going on either side of it. And really understand that is a game changer for West Richland and what that project will do for the city. And we also stressed that while DOT's tried to cut out that pathway from Keene Road out to Antinori to connect the AVA to the pathway system, that wasn't going to occur. And actually, right before that tour, we received a letter from Benton County. If you recall, we partnered with them on the South 38th project, and we didn't spend all the money. But the agreement didn't consider over or under runs. So what do we do with this 90,000? And so Benton County basically gave us permission to use that towards the SR 224 Red Mountain, and specifically for that pathway portion. So that gives us some leverage against DOT that, again, here's a string, you want that 90,000, you need to build that pathway. So the AVA, Benton County, we're all super appreciative of that, not letting that small but important detail fall out of the project. We took the opportunity, I tell you, I'm not a very good salesman, but we took the opportunity to showcase the iPlant, and they wouldn't let us drive by the police station chief without making a quick stop and giving them a sneak peek of that. And nothing but positive reviews. Actually just shocked how far along it is, considering we just started construction in February. And a lot of kudos to the team for moving forward with the challenges of COVID, having to do meetings online and still keep that design moving forward on schedule, on budget. But most importantly, because we did that, there's a lot of other projects that are seeing cost overruns, delays due to materials. But because we grudged through it last year through COVID, all our prices and materials were locked in. So we're not having those challenges. So anyway, well received. And a lot of kudos. And again, these our representatives and senators now can put they know where that project is located, could have put a face to it. We gave them 4 Leos. And actually, I guess I'm on the tour deal because we had Representative Clicker. I think he's down in Walla Walla. I can't remember what. He is very interested in our transportation projects. And so I'll be giving him a tour on next Thursday, the 26th. So I'll be taking around town to show them these projects. So people know where West Richland's at on the map, and so it's good feedback to have these people, and always happy to give them a tour and showcase that. The other good piece of good news is, if you recall, council authorized us to submit an application to the Public Works Trust Fund Board for our Well 2 project, and we were successful in securing $3.2 million for that project. So as soon as I get the letter, that'll come to council to sign a contract, budget amendment, and we'll get going on reconstructing Well 2 there in Flat Top Park. And the cool thing with that is it's got funding in there to get rid of the chlorine gas and get rid of that hazard in our community. So Julie West, our new engineer, put that application, did a fabulous job. And again, it's a loan, low interest loan, 0.7% over 20 years. It's highly competitive. The state only has so much money, and she did an excellent job with the team here putting that application together. So that was it, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Roscoe. Much appreciated. Yeah, that was a great tour that we had in regards to the representatives here. When everybody saw just exactly what the project consisted of, it really gave them an opportunity to absorb it, to take back to their legislative offices and to keep pushing forward as we move forward. So yeah, it was a good time spent. A little warm, but we made it through it. Okay, any other staff members? We have Stephanie.
I don't have a raise hand option.
You got the control panel. You got all the options you need.
I have to raise my hand. So I have good news. Our new website is scheduled to launch on August 31st. So we've been working out the kinks internally. I've been trying to go through the draft site to make sure I catch any errors or make sure all the updates have been made. So starting, I think it's supposed to be by 10 a.m. on August 31st, you'll see that transition. The new site will have an abundance of new features. It'll look entirely different, a lot less words, a lot more pictures, a lot more graphics to click on instead of just having to read 7 paragraphs. One of the features I think that we will use the most, it's an option for citizens to select topics they wish to receive notifications on. They can either receive an email notification or a text notification. For example, an item would be upcoming council meetings, or if they're interested in the Parks Board, when a Parks Board agenda is published, they can receive a notification. And then for council, you'll notice a new way to retrieve your agendas. So it'll be a different site to get that information, which I will send out to you. But it'll be a lot more streamlined. And you'll be able to access all of the agendas for the last, beginning of 2020 moving forward in that same module. So something to look forward to. I would encourage all of you, once it's launched, to go check it out. And if you find anything that I missed, please let me know. There's a lot of information on there, a lot of information that was transferred. So always looking, to make it better. So
Thank you, Stephanie. Looking forward to that. There was an email that popped up on my screen or my email the other day, and it was kind of one of those deals where somebody is fishing or something. So I sent it back to Stephanie. I says, "Is this real?" She said, "It's a test email for the new site." So yeah, looking forward to it, Stephanie. Thank you very much and all your hard work. I'm sure it'll pay off many times over with the simplicity of navigating for our citizens, which we've heard so much about over the years. So thanks again. Any other staff members? Okay, seeing none, we're going to go ahead and move on to council comments, reports. I see Councilmember Bloom, you had your hand up.
2 things. One is the pathway that Ms. Hauser was speaking about terminates at Ironton, which is a couple blocks away from my particular property. And there's no real connectivity. And those easements, those access easements were the things that we took care of with the Section 6, Section 8 easement aspects. I just want to report on the transit board and the sales tax issue and the demands or the suggestion that the county commissioners made. The transit board met last week and unanimously voted to not take up the county commissioner's suggestion. That unanimous vote didn't include any county commissioners, and no one voted against it. Commissioner Mullen did attend the meeting for part of it, and but didn't actually vote. The issue was presented to the Kennewick City Council as well as the Prosser City Council. The general manager has a presentation, should be willing to bring it into the West Richland City Council, which basically shows what the transit plan is, what the future of transit will be, what's the vision of how transit will happen. Also at last week's meeting, we procured the property next to the Tulip Lane park and ride, which will be the new transit center off of Queensgate. And so with that, there'll be a lot more connectivity of West Richland to the other transit system, because there'll be a couple of the new 15-minute rides that will go through there, as well as improving transit to Prosser and Benton City. So things to look forward to in the coming future.
Okay. Richard, if you'd have the transit board get a hold, or whomever would make that presentation, reach out to Stephanie and schedule a time that fits our schedule and theirs for a presentation to council. I would appreciate that. And then also key her up on more routes through West Richland too, because that'll probably be a question that somebody might ask. So
as I've been trying to say over and over again, there's a route to all streets in West Richland. It's called Connect. You download the app and you push the button. It's like an Uber, and a van will come within a block or two of your house and pick you up and take you to a bus.
So that'd be a great link for our new website. That will be a click, click, you're there. Perfect.
Right.
Okay.
And actually, Councilmember Torelli used it the other day, and he was amazed how convenient it was. And of course, right now, all of transit's free because we got federal bucks to cover all fares.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. Move up to Councilmember Moran.
Oh, thank you. Let's see. So first, I want to echo what the chief said. National Night Out was great. I loved seeing everybody out there. I was there with the Community Care Foundation. We had yo-yos and Kona Ice. It's fantastic. And also, Mr. Mayor, what you were talking about with the phishing, I have actually received several phishing emails. So I just want to remind folks to watch out for emails. Check to verify if it actually is who it says it's from when you click on the email, make sure. And I really think, again, for our emails, rather than having it say at the bottom that it's an outside email, it should say right at the top. I think that's really important. Also, I was wondering, Chief, with the August 31st town hall, is there a possibility to allow for any remote attendance, or is that solely, if it happens, going to be in person?
It's going to be, I'll answer that, Chief. It will be an in-person meeting when it occurs. To facilitate such a meeting that could attract extremely large amount of people would not be feasible or doable with virtual. So it will be an in-person when it happens.
Okay, sounds good. Let's see. Just want to mention, I'm sure that you probably saw one of my cats walking across me today. Is National Black Cat Day. They're not bad luck. And I want to briefly just touch on, I won't go into detail, but with everything that's going on with Afghanistan, I do want to say that I know, as a veteran myself and knowing several other veterans, that it has been an extremely difficult time to see what's happening, no matter what your thoughts are on it. So there is help for those that are veterans, active duty, National Guard, reservists, and their friends and family members. And it is the Veterans Crisis Line. You can go online. It's www.veterancrisisline.net. You can also call or text or message online. And all of that information for the contact is veteranscrisisline.net. And Stephanie, I can send you that information if you want. But if you are a veteran or you know a veteran, maybe just reach out and make sure they're doing okay. It's a rough time.
Okay.
And then for the 28th of last month, we had a Benton Franklin Economic Development District board meeting for, well, the strategic committee, and we basically just discussed the SEDS and the SWATs, the economic development and the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that created that. Just continued discussing that from the prior meeting. On the 11th of this month, we had a Benton Franklin Council of Governments work session. We discussed the past and the future budget, and I will let Michelle and her staff go much further into it. And Mr. Mayor or Aaron or Stephanie, if you'd like, I can tell you a little bit more about it, but we'll just say that right now, what the organizations that buy into the BFCOG and that are members of BFCOG pay is going to have to change. In the grand scheme of things, it's not massive. It truly is a drop in the bucket, but I mean, 1,000 cuts eventually is going to bleed. So there's any raising of the budget going to be more money going to it. But due to loss of a lot of the, sorry, it's got it saved on here, paper and everything else. there was the loss of the CARES, the loss of the COVID Economic Recovery Fund, looking at a 3% raise in COLA, keeping the staff members that they have now, limits to interest, and just so many other reasons. It's important, and the reserve funds, which is significantly minimal right now. We're looking at having to have some sort of increase in cost to paying for BFCOG. Currently, we pay a little over $8,000 a year. So we've got that. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about is I was told about this project called Hello Lamppost, a company called Hello Lamppost. And I talked to Eric about it a little bit. I emailed Stephanie about it, and I talked to Roscoe very briefly about it. And I'm wondering if that's something that maybe council might want to look into, especially with the lack of interaction that we have found sometimes with the folks in the community, especially when we look at the parks plan, the forum that we had for it, and not having a lot of folks participate. Hello Lamppost is something, it is a British company, or at least a company in the UK, and they make these QR codes and a text number where you can have a QR code and a text number associated with, let's say, a lamppost. And you go to the lamppost, you see the sign that says, talk to me, text this number or scan this QR code. So you text or you scan the QR code, you can use SMS, you can use WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger. It is completely anonymous because the number goes into their system, the contact information goes into their system and immediately is anonymized, gives you just a user ID number that's associated with that way that you're communicating with them. And you say, hello, lamppost, whatever number, and it gives you back a script that says, hello, West Richland resident, or hello, citizen. The city is wondering what you think about our parks. We are currently investing in this, or we're looking at that. And it gives a little bit of back and forth. And the city, if we were to purchase this, we would be able to decide what that script is, and we could work with them. And of course, I told them that I was not talking to them as a representative of the city in this manner, but wanted to get more information so that if we wanted to discuss it further, we could look into it. It seemed like it was a really great way to interact with folks in the community, especially in the time of COVID, where we still don't have a lot of gatherings. People just walking along, see a sign. They're actually willing to spend a lot of money on PR because they're trying to get more American cities to do it. They were in Independence, Oregon, which is slightly smaller than us. A little bit over 10,000 people lived there at the time. They did that for 6 months. They were in Mesa, Arizona for 1 month. But with 1 year being $10,000 or less for 5 different types of objects, but any number of that specific type of object, it really seems like it would be beneficial, at least to look into it. And I can definitely send the information. They also have a way to create an end of project report, and I can show you the one that they sent me. I also spoke with the folks in Independence, Oregon about it, and the folks with Mesa about it, and they did it for a little while in Austin, Texas for South by Southwest. So if we want to start getting more interaction with folks, like for the park plan, or hopefully we'll be updating our economic development plan, this might be a good way to do it with limited ability to meet in person. So that's all I got.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Brown?
Hi, I just finished up the bylaws. I hope we finished up the bylaws for the good roads. There was a huge change in it. Besides that, just National Night Out was a great event again. I appreciate the chief for thanking us, but I just see Stephanie there, and I mean there's a ton, Roscoe, there's a ton of staff there as well. So it was a good effort. And I will piggyback. He took us for a tour of the new police station. It will be just outstanding. It's just going to be gorgeous. So I'll agree with them with that. It's going to be a really pretty facility. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Gail. Councilmember Fetto?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Monday before National Night Out, I was diagnosed or tested positive for the coronavirus. The 2 days prior to and the 3 days that followed were the worst 5 days of my life. I have been vaccinated. I am still suffering from rolling headaches, memory loss, fatigue. I'm unable to fully do my job. So I would just say to anybody who is out there, I know Mr. Ray, you're probably gonna talk about case count, so I'm not going to mention that, but mask up. I let my guard down for 1 minute and got smacked in the back of the head. And Chief, as a citizen, I ask you to cancel the event. I canceled Sausage Fest. I am the chair of Sausage Fest. I canceled Sausage Fest. Hopefully, it doesn't sound like the fair is going to do the right thing and cancel the fair. So I just ask anybody who's out there, if you're in public, inside, outside, doesn't matter, put a mask on so we can get rid of this thing. Because I'll tell you, I can't function right now. I'm having some serious issues.
Councilman Fetto, thank you for your report, and hope you get to feeling better soon. If there's anything any of us can do, go ahead and reach out. I'm sure you've got a lot of friends at hand here. So I don't do windows, but I can mow a lawn. Let me know what we can do for you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Smart.
Yeah, I just wanted to also thank not only the chief and all the staff that were at the night out, but also the individual officers. I spent a bit of time at the table where they had the bulletproof vests and so forth. Got to hear all about that technology and was really heartening to see some of our younger people there, like look like they were maybe 12 or 14 years old, really taking an interest in that technology. You know, I think the whole idea of stopping a bullet really resonated with some of these kids. They really liked that concept. I think it's pretty cool myself. Heaven forbid we ever have to use that, but or find it effective, right? But it was great to see, and I really appreciate all the time that the staff and the officers spent with that. I want to thank one of our more active citizens, Mr. Ritchie, for bringing up the opportunity to participate in the local 598 golf tournament that benefits Bike for Tykes. It'll be the 3rd annual Bike for Tykes golf tournament held on September 18th at Canyon Lakes Golf Course. You can find a flyer for it on the website that is bikefortykesnw.com. And I encourage especially our first responders, the West Richland Police Department, the fire district, and any other first responders to sign up. My understanding is that there are 8 team slots open where those first responder members can play for free. That's what I'm told. So it's not my event, and I was still waiting for confirmation for that, but I'll say it anyway because it came from a reliable source. Normally tickets for playing in the tournament, there's a fee for that, but I noticed in the flyer that one of the things that Northwest Motorsports is sponsoring is a hole-in-one truck giveaway. So that sounds pretty exciting, along with a lot of other contest formats, shotgun start, scrambler format, etc. So I would just want to make that announcement for the community and for the benefit of our first responders to maybe take advantage of a fun day at Canyon Lakes Golf Course on September 18th. That's all I had for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Smart. Tonight I'll touch a little bit on the well, before I do that, I'll respond to Kate and the COG. Kate, I have been in contact and have been having discussions with the chair of COG, Skip Novakovich. There's a lot of things that need to be addressed prior to bringing it back to your board there. So I'll be working with Skip, and hopefully we can get the COG executive director to come visit with all of their constituents and have conversations before any decisions are made. So That's not something that is going unattended. So thank you for bringing that up and let council know, on just a follow up that working with the director or the board chair. Then moving on to the COVID, as everybody is well aware of, highest case counts per thousand than we've had since the height of the pandemic are here now. We have approximately, at the peak of COVID, we had 10 to 15 COVID patients in Cadillac Hospital. And now we have like 56 out of 250 patients that are at the hospital, or 56 of those are COVID related. We had a special meeting with all the hospitals, the city administrators, county administrators, health district, with the hospitals pleading for us to take a good hard look at large events. They've put together some different programs as far as trying to message through healthcare providers to the publics to get the word out of what the impact is. If you looked at the Visit Tri-Cities video press conference that Stephanie shared with you all, it was very informational. The hospitals are not only suffering challenges with staff and the doctor and the healthcare provider side of things, but basic services, housekeeping, janitorial, kitchens, the basics. I mean, people they're leaving that particular environment and going to work for McDonald's and Dairy Queen for the same money or more money, and not have to be in the environment. So yeah, it's very challenging. And we predict from the city manager side that the governor is probably going to come and make some type of announcement in the near future. I would be surprised if he doesn't. Governor Brown has done so in Oregon. So we'll see what the governor holds for us, but you can't blame him for doing any particular thing in this particular situation. Regardless of how we feel about the past tense of COVID and the restrictions that were put on us, we are in crisis mode right now. When you have Franklin County, the highest rate in the country, it's black and white. We're in a dire strait here. We're taking every precaution we can here at the city. We evaluate everything. We're being even more careful than we have been in the past with making sure that our operators are, not working together. We have staff separated to the point of where if one person goes down, they don't take everybody in the whole department shot. I mean, we don't have the manpower that our big cities do. So we're being extra careful here. And we're going to kind of wait and see what the governor says, but I think something's going to happen, and I believe it's going to happen probably sooner than later. Not a good thing, but unfortunately, the example sitting right in front of you with Council Member Fetto. I mean, even though you're vaccinated, that doesn't mean you're out of the woods. It can't happen to you. It's happened to some of the other close staffers here as well. But so let's be careful. Do everything you can in your power to mitigate the impacts of this variant, and we'll see what happens. But Chief and I are just kind of holding on a little bit to see. We don't want the governor to call the ball and be the bad guy and make us cancel a personal meeting. But if he doesn't do it, you're going to probably see the chief and I put our heads together and say this is not a good idea. So with that, I don't have any more bad news to share. I do have one bit of good news. It was just a little bit above 70 degrees today. I walked outside, I got a little chill, and I had to turn my heat up in my office. So I guess that's a good sign. If we can get over the smoke, we'll be good to go. So with that, council, I thank you for your time this evening. Staff, much appreciated as always. And everybody be safe, take care, and we'll see you next time. Meeting adjourned at, my time went out, 7:35. Okay, we're out of here. See you guys.
Night.